I used to believe a lot about aligner materials that I don't believe anymore. And this has been a pleasant surprise. So I used to think that if you had an aligner material that was soft and very flexible and trimmed, scalloped at the gingival margins, that would result in a higher patient compliance because that would be the most comfortable type of aligner. It'd be the easiest to get them on or to get them off. And that if you increase the stiffness too much, it would be too hard to get them on and off, and the patient wouldn't be able to do it, and so they wouldn't wear the aligners as much. In my experience, that's completely the opposite. With uLab aligners, the material itself is slightly stiffer than what you may be used to with your traditional aligner company. And also, the aligners are trimmed just gingival of the gingival margins, which also increases the amount of force that's able to be applied to the teeth. So at the end of the day, that results in you needing slightly smaller and less attachments, and it does result in a stiffer aligner that when you initially seat is going to be tighter. Now again, in my mind I was thinking, well, that's not a good thing. But in my experience, it is a great thing, and here's the reason why. When a patient puts on a stiffer aligner and also an aligner with an increased velocity per stage, and I'm going to show you this, we're going to go through cases, but when the actual movement per stage is higher and the aligner is stiffer, you create a scenario where in order for them to continue to progress to the aligners, they have to be wearing them well. Because if they don't wear them well, if they just try to do, at nighttime and they got to do 1 week or they skip a couple days here and there, their teeth are not going to move to the extent where they will be ready to change to the next aligner. They'll go to change to the next aligner and they won't be able to put it in. This has been a huge game changer in my practice because it helps me to identify early when patients are compliant and when they're not. We won't go into this in detail, but there's an entire 2-hour webinar, and I'll put a link in it later so that you have that. If you want to learn the details of how that works and how to set up the cases that way and how we order the aligners, you can do that. But long story short, we order about 6 aligners in the beginning, and that is to test patient compliance and to make sure everything's on track and the patient's on board. After they come back for their first visit, we'll order the remaining aligners, and that's been a true game changer in our practice. So there's